so all these conservatives are talking about sex ed right now, and about how gay people are corrupting their children, et cetera, et cetera, and things should go back to the way they used to be. But the way that I remember it, they were teaching us to be terrified of sex because of AIDS, which doesn't exist. We find out fucking 20 years later. And also that teenage pregnancy was the worst thing that could possibly happen to a human being. And so Kit had a funny line about that.
Well, this was like my experience, and I'm a couple of years older than you. I'm happy birthday in advance, by the way. But the sex ed that I went through was like, and this was like the scale that they went on. They were like, you could get AIDS, you could get herpes, you could get gonorrhea, chlamydia, you could get all these sexually transmitted diseases, or worse, you could get a girl pregnant. And it was like that was like how
Yeah,
bad could get was
yeah,
getting a
yeah,
girl pregnant because your life is over. Your
yeah,
life would be over. You'd have a kid as a teenager, and it made sense as a kid. Dude, Degrassi Junior High had episodes about it, man. It
yeah,
was like
yeah.
part of our indoctrination. And then the reality is, it turns out having kids when you're young is the best thing for those kids, health wise. And for your life and your freedom, you could have those kids, they could be grown up, and you could still be in your fucking late 40s, early 50s, and have a fucking life after that. Like, it's
Yeah.
back,
The reason that we're
backwards.
talking about this, by the way, is because it's my birthday or pre-birthday kind of celebration. I'm about to turn 36, and Kit was just telling me it's like one of the biggest regrets in his life is not having had kids. And this is something that
True.
I hear other people saying, including a lot of women who went in for the whole feminism thing. And
Gonna be
then,
CEOs of a company, gonna wear suits with shoulder pads.
no, you aren't.
We're gonna buck, yeah, gonna buck the trend for being. I'm not gonna have kids. I'm not gonna stay at home. And then,
And
yeah,
then after
later on in life,
35,
super
30,
depressed,
yeah.
super loss of meaning of the true importance of their life. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. The other thing we were talking about was that, I mean, spiritually, I believe that, like, yeah, your ancestors live on through you and the kin that you have, and that I think that there's something really important with that. And when you die without having children, I think that they die spiritually also, and that I don't know. You're not really. I don't know.
So basically, you're saying there's nothing wrong with teenage pregnancy.
That's a tough sell, but I think that maybe it was. I think yeah, I think it was sold as like, the worst thing that could ever happen to a teenager,
Yeah,
and it turns out that I don't think that that's true.
yeah, yeah.
But I have, you know,
But
I'm grateful enough to have teenagers now, that are like my stepkids, and I would tell you, I don't want them having kids right away,
yeah.
because I know that that'll fall on me, and that's what teenage pregnancy is about. Is like the parents, the grandparents or whatever, are really the ones that raise those kids. But culturally and historically, I think that that's always been the case, because
Well, we're
when a
here on
parent,
Wet'suwet'en territory, and Chief Sebesa told me how it was in her day, which is, like still the way it was kind of before, which is it was 1 year after a girl menstruates. For 1 year, then her parents watch her like a hawk, basically. And then after that, then it's expected that she will get pregnant if she's not married off.
well, and
And that's the reality of.
elders taking care of grandkids makes sense in so many ways, in a nomadic culture, or even in a working class culture. You could consider it like, if you're a retired grandparent and you got time to take care of grandkids, awesome, while the parents are fucking out there hustling, working, hunting, whatever it is, gaining resources for the future survival of those kids and of that family. And then they've missed out on the rearing of their children. They feel this sense of, man, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. So what do? Their kids have kids, their grandparents, they spend a lot of time with their grandkids, and it just
And
completes that
that's,
cycle.
yeah, it's the way kind of it's supposed to be. I think that, like, now you have some feminists who are kind of, you know, there was one that I thought was really interesting. She's basically saying that the birth control was the end of the sexual revolution, not the beginning of it. Because, previously in every culture, one of the issues is the very practical concern of controlling reproduction of girls, because somebody has to care for these children. And so it is kind of not just an issue which affects that particular person, with that particular girl. Like if a 14-year-old girl, gets pregnant, some loser guy, that's kind of not just her problem.
Yeah, straight up. And like that comes back to my comment of like I don't necessarily want Angie's girls, like our girls, to go out and get pregnant with some loser guy that then you're gonna have a relationship with. I mean, if you ever date or marry or have a relationship with a girl that has kids with some loser, you understand what a burden that is, you know, because that's a relationship going on forever.
Yeah, because
That'll
then
be
they're
the
and then
forever
they're not.
relationship.
I mean, if it is like a loser who's also got a bunch of other kids from a bunch of other fucking girls that they've sweet talked into having sex with them, because girls at
Because
that age
alcohol
don't